So I'm going to, my research has to do with beauty salons, but more importantly kind of like what they have or what their meaning is to like middle-aged women. So I kind of like stumbled upon this topic, like when we were given the assignment I didn't really know what I wanted to do because everything kind of seemed interesting to me. So then after a conversation with the professor, she mentioned that I should read the Gilman chapter on beauty salons. So I did, and then I started really thinking about my own position in hair and how like the way that I view hair is very like political without even kind of thinking about it. The way we all wear our hair says something about the people that we think that we are. Like I'm young, so I like to wear my hair long because I feel like it's versatile. And a lot of like the literature that I have reviewed says that like longer hair is sexy and it's youthful. So when I did my interviews, I noticed that a lot of like the older women didn't have longer hair. It tended to be a lot shorter, and it kind of like reaffirmed like what I had been researching, that older women like shorter hair because they feel like it's more mature and it's appropriate. So that's just kind of like a side. So beauty salons in general, in the way that I talk about them, are places or institutions where cosmetic services are offered and performed by licensed individuals. So everybody who does hair, for the most part, has a license to be working in California in a salon. There are different types of salons, like there are lower end ones and more, I guess, elite, expensive ones. And the one that I go to is, and I did my research at, is kind of like, it looks like the picture. So in these salons, like there are different services offered, and I think as I've gone through, it's like a status symbol as to like where you go and what you get done. Generally speaking, the clientele varies from location to location, and it's of all ages. So we all kind of start commodifying like our beauty through our hair at a very, very young age. Like Danielle said, like hair is important. It's like something that we look at all the time. So reasons why I chose middle-aged women, because I feel like there's this transition between kind of like youth and just going to get a haircut, styled for prom, whatever. And older women go, it's very regularly, and it's for very specific reasons. So two of the main reasons that they kind of like mentioned in their own words that were very consistent were to touch up my gray, or like, and then me time or unloading. So these were two things that stood out to me, is like they thought it was very important, and all of them mentioned that. So touch up my gray kind of is self-explanatory. They have gray hair, they reach the stage where they feel like to be more youthful, they have to do this process. As I've kind of been trying to like situate all of like what they said, I don't really understand why women dye their gray hair, like why it's really such a big deal. Like to me, in my age, it seems like a luxury that they do this, but for these women, it's not that at all. It's something that they feel they have to do. None of them specifically mentioned that it was a necessity, but they did mention that they had to go regularly, like every 5 weeks, every 4 weeks, to go and like get their hair dyed. And ultimately, when I asked them like, why do you think that, like why do you have to do this? They said, it's so I can look in the mirror and feel like good about myself and like the person that I see. A lot of them mention that when they do look in the mirror, like that's all that they see is like their hair. And when I asked them like about makeup, like what else is important to you, they kind of were like, oh no, none of that, but it's my hair. And a lot of them mentioned that they spend most of their money on treatments for their hair, dyed, cut, and whatnot. So in terms of like me time or unloading, in my paper I'm kind of like starting to kind of like investigate the connection between the stylist and the client more, but they all kind of said that like, this is my friend now because I come all the time, and they just kind of divulge like everything. They unload everything. One of the women said, she calls it like therapy, and she just goes and talks about everything and anything with her stylist, and like she's just gone to her, she goes to her so frequently that she's just become one of her friends, but they don't hang out outside of like the salon. Okay, there are two other reasons that I think that women go to salons that they didn't exactly mention, which was pressure to conform and ritual. None of them specifically said, oh, this is a ritual for me, this is something I have to do, but I think it is because the fact that they go so consistently every 5 weeks, every month to get the same things done. So in terms of like what it has to do with like the commodification of beauty, I think that ultimately stylists are not just selling hair or a style or a cut or a color. They're selling confidence and self-esteem and emotions. And if you guys kind of remember back to the talk, when the guest speakers came, they said like, if I feel good about the haircut, and they kind of like, she tells them that it's good, then they feel that it's good. So that just kind of
Interesting.
So I'm ready for questions. I have a lot more to say.
Oh yes. Actually, just warm up, like all of you guys. You know, it took you guys 3 minutes to come, and then the heart of it is where it came up, and then I had to stop you, and that's the reason why you have to really look at your tape. Okay, questions. Who is the respondent? Yes.
So you talk about like the necessity versus the luxury of it. Did you notice that there was a difference in how people perceived like whether or not it's a necessity or a luxury? Like, I know you only studied one hair salon, but do you think if you like went to like different hair salons in like different areas that the difference between necessity versus luxury would be different, or do you think it's the same?
I think it would be a little bit different. Like everybody kind of defines luxury and necessity in a different way. Because I feel like recently I went with my friend to like this really, like for me, because I'm really picky about like salons and whatnot, and she went to what I would consider like a lower end salon, and she gets like these products done that she thinks is kind of like a luxury to get like her eyebrows done there and whatnot, and like I wouldn't consider it a luxury to get it done there, or by whoever it was, you know? So I think it really depends on the person, but in terms of like age, I feel like older women who have the means tend to go to those higher end salons.
And then when you talked about like how stylists are like working on women's emotions, do you think that like this has any effect on how the women like view their hairstyle at the end of like the haircut, like whether or not they had a good conversation with their hairstylist, or like whether or not they had a good relationship with them?
I definitely think so. One of the women that I interviewed actually like, she says that sometimes, some of the women like mention that when they get their hair done, they want like whatever they want done to be done. Like, and not have the stylist kind of like, oh, well, I think this would look better. Like, to some of the women, that didn't matter. They wanted their own look. So even, one of them mentioned, like, she has, like, a great relationship with her stylist, but sometimes her stylist doesn't do what she wants. And that kind of, like, bothers her. Like, it doesn't affect, like, their relationship, but how she views her hair does. Like, no matter how much her stylist likes what she did, because she views it as kind of like an artsy kind of thing, the person doesn't really feel it.
So even though like they have a good relationship, she's unable to criticize her work.
Yeah. But she wouldn't say to the stylist because the stylist is a professional.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's fascinating. Okay.